right, so another season has passed, and this is our first time doing 3 months, so we'll see if it's too much for us, but I have read 32 books in the past 3 months, and some of them are fairly short and part of series and stuff like that. And just like last time, as I go through these, I will point out some of my superlative winners, which are new book, surprising, disappointing, best cover, best experience, and audio narrator. There are some that I haven't gotten to talk about anywhere else, so I might put a little more time into chatting about them, but otherwise I have Friday reads for everything I've read, so I'll try not to belabor the point so that this video isn't too long, but hopefully it's still fun and worth snack time or something like that. I've put them into different genres so we can hop around, so I want to start with my non-SFF genres, and then we'll end with fantasy and science fiction. So let's start with some romance. I've read 3 romance because I am about a 1 romance a month person. That's about who I am. So I finally read the other Mariana Zapata that I purchased called Wait For It. I read this on my trip, so I really haven't talked about this book much. I didn't realize, but it's kind of a sequel to The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. It's her friend and her love story. I don't like this as a romance, but I love it as just a book where I get to know these people and follow them around, kind of Shrinking or stuff like that. I really enjoyed her community, her family, how she built a life, how this person entered her life. The declarations of love in a Mariana Zapata book are next level. Now, that said, her physical scenes and chemistry don't do anything for me, and it's probably a bit long. It's a bit long. So if you're someone who wants more payoff in slow burn, make sure you like her style. I do think The Wall of Winnipeg and Me, it's a little more digestible. It's 400 pages. I do think in general I enjoyed that one a lot more than this one, but I still liked it. I don't know, it was still a pleasant time. So I'm glad I read it. I also read First Time Caller. This was weird because I really didn't like the first 200 pages, but I really liked the second 200 pages. So what rating did I give it? Probably a 3.5 to a 4. I have no idea. The first half is a 2.5 to 3 star. I'm bored. What's happening? And then the second half is yes, we're hitting the ground running. This is the type of tension and chemistry I want. So yeah, it was a good time. I do like it more than Love Light Farms. So I will tentatively read another book by her, maybe in this series. I haven't decided yet. We'll see. I'm not in a rush. But, and I'm sure we're all going to be shocked that this won my best experience, I did read the new Abby Jimenez, The Night We Met, and I adored it. I don't remember what the scenario was, but I was not having a good weekend. I don't know if it was mental health or physical health or both. I think it was physical health. I think I had a cold. I was not having a good time. And I'm screw it. I'm not waiting for my library hold. I am just going to buy this book. Which, when you buy a Kindle book new, it hurts. You don't do it often because it's hard to rationalize, but I did, and I finished that book in 24 hours, and I don't have regrets. The Night We Met, I do think has a premise that will not work for everyone, but I think it's done really well, and I would be interested in seeing the love story for the guy who is not the hero of this story. So the premise is that this girl ends up dating this guy, but the end game is this guy's best friend. Now, there is never anything morally done wrong. They're never flirting with each other or I don't know, they're never doing anything with each other. They have a really strong platonic bond and a lot of respect. And there is this whole idea of the night they met, paths could have gone 1 or 2 ways, and they just didn't. So they're just existing in this platonic space. One of them's in denial. The other one is very much that's my best friend's girl. But things just keep escalating because especially this best friend is not currently partner material. He just really isn't. He's got stuff to work through. She is not the right girl for him right now, and he is definitely not the right guy for her. And this just reminded me of season 2 of Bridgerton, where you have all this pining and yearning, and there's kind of almost this self-loathing in how you can't control how you feel for someone else. And I just adore that. I don't know. I really love that energy. It was really good for me. So this was a nice win, especially since I didn't love the book before it, Say You'll Remember Me. This isn't the same group of friends, so it's kind of a series. not really. I don't think it really matters. So yeah, those were the romances. Next up, we've got some general fiction. I won't say a lot about most of these. So we got Sadness is a White Bird, which I read for Hercad. This is about this young boy who is trying to figure out his life in Israel because he has friends who are Palestinian. He knows that he's supposed to be in the army, and you kind of have this moment in the present, and you keep flashing back to how he got here. And you have to deal with this cost of what he has done. It's pretty apparent the author is anti, like, occupation of Palestine, and specifically the draft for, like, Israel and, like, how everyone has to be in the military. I believe the author himself was, like, put in jail for not joining the military. It was pretty good. I found it very engaging, very beautiful. If you're interested in any of that content, pick it up. We have Violetta, which is by Isabel Cañez. Currently, like, my least favorite. I've only read 2. It's fine. I think this is a very fine historical fiction about this woman, Violetta, and her life in Chile, how her family goes from economic highs and lows, her relationship with her husband, but honestly, I find it fairly forgettable. I really like the cover. I think it's really pretty. I think she has a very easy writing style, so if you're someone who likes an easy-to-read historical fiction, I think you'd have a good time with this one, but I definitely love Long Petal of the Sea more. And that was also a 20th century Chilean historical fiction, and I think that one was because of the tie to music. I really loved the tie to music in that one. We have Discontent. This is from Spain. This is a lot of commentary on workplace stuff. So if you want a satire on the workplace in the 21st century, this is your book. The main character has one of those literary fiction voiciness, you know. I like, whenever I read these books, I'm always just like, who thinks like this? Like, who in their day is having these thoughts? I could never. In a book, it's totally fine, right? Like, it's not like, I'm not suspending my disbelief or anything like that. It's more just like, nobody is thinking like this, I don't think. Maybe my brain's just an uninteresting place, or my work is fulfilling me enough. But she's just a really fascinating voice, regardless, to get this type of satire through. And, like, the climax of the story is bananas. And then the falling action from the climax is equally bananas. And it led to a really fun book club discussion. I had a friend in real life I recommended it to who really liked it. So yeah, if you're someone who wants a short literary fiction from, like, a kind of voicey female main character, I'm not really willing to say she's like, it's like weird girl lit fic or sad girl lit fic or anything like that, but it's a voicey character. She's got some thoughts. She's a little pompous, little snob, and it's in Spain, if you want a book in Spain. And then I read Jawbone, which is an Ecuadorian author, and I believe takes place in Ecuador. And this is like Heathers meets Mean Girls, and some slight other, like, liminal space stuff going on. We've got, I'm trying to think of how to, like, introduce this story. It's another author who, like, if you like a voicey author, it's got a strong voice. Our characters, we have a school teacher who's pushed over the edge. We've got this group of girls, and we have these 2 girls in particular in this group who are too close, and one of them is kind of unwell in very manipulative ways. And it's about how that friendship, when it falls apart, has unforeseen consequences with this instructor and one of the girls. And yeah, it's just, it's a weird psychological thriller situation with all of that. If you don't know what I mean by Mean Girls Meet Heather, well, you know what Mean Girls is, presumably. Heathers is like a high school movie from the 80s that just, like, honestly, I think that kind of fits the vibe of this book. Like, that movie starts off as one thing, and then you're like, whoa, we took a turn. Like, that is... And, like, the opening of this book is one of our main characters being kidnapped. And, like, at first I didn't know if that was real, but, like, it is. It has some mixed media elements, like discussions with a therapist. There's, like, letters that were written. It's engaging. It's an engaging work. The writing style is definitely the biggest selling point. It was a weird time. All right, now I've read 3 nonfiction. I read Gender Euphoria, which is a bunch of essays by different people in the trans community. I thought it was nice. It's always, and I think it would definitely be something that I would point to give to people who are, like, don't have that many trans people in their life to like give them those touchstones of experiences and why XYZ is so important and impactful. Because I do think a lot of people, when they aren't exposed to like the issues and just those individuals, don't see why it's so important to just respect someone's pronouns and their names. Like, there's obviously more that needs to be done than that, but that bare minimum can just be so life-changing for so many people. So I think that's a really great essay collection. I read Somebody is Walking on Your Grave by Mariana Enriquez, and it was a nice little travel vlog. I went around the world, saw different cemeteries through her eyes. She has some fascinating stories. It was like a little bit of memoir, a little bit of history, and a lot of travel. It was cool. And then my biggest surprise of this quarter was Never Home Alone. This is a nonfiction book that I'm obsessed with. I'm absolutely obsessed with this book. I think about it all the time. Like, I teach microbiology, and I'm someone who does like to feels the key word, like I'm in control of my life by understanding how it works. Obviously, I'm never in control, but understanding my relationship to microorganisms around me really helps me feel empowered. I really loved learning about the role of native plants in the yard, kind of concerning what I've learned about shower heads, learning about different bugs and their relationship, the good and bad things about dogs and cats. The sourdough chapter was fascinating. Kind of made me want to start a sourdough, but maybe I'm going to do kimchi instead. Regardless, made me want to do a fermentation project. Let's just say that. It's really good, and I think its audio quality is really good because it like each chapter feels like a podcast that then like ends with like, and on next week's podcast, here's the thing we're going to talk about. And it like really intrigues you about like, yeah, I want to learn about the cockroaches. Tell me about the cockroaches. I don't know how this would go for someone who like is more of like a germaphobe and like doesn't feel like like they might rationally know that not all microorganisms are bad, but that doesn't like anxiety and fear is like, you know, a different ball game. For me, I think it really helped me figure out how to have a better relationship with dirt and germs and things like that. But it also kind of validates just a lot of my own lived experiences, and who doesn't love reading a thing that makes you feel valid, right? Like, I just really enjoyed it. Like, it just had a great time. All right, next up, we are now in the fantasy and science fiction categories. Now, I do believe the rest of my awards, including disappointment, is going to be in sci-fi. Fantasy did a fine. It just wasn't like knocking it out of the park. Because I'm trying to even think, what was my best book of the quarter? And I think my best book is also going to be in sci-fi. That feels right. Okay. So, no particular order. Let's go through fantasy. I read The Mermaid, the Witch, and the Sea. This was a good young adult fantasy. I don't read a lot of young adult fantasy. But I read this on a trip. It was engaging. The writing style was really nice. I have zero interest in reading the companion sequel. And it hasn't really stuck with me that much. But it was good. I read 4 Shauna Maguire. I read the 4 in the Wayward Children series. So Every Heart a Doorway, Down Among the Sticks and Bones, Beneath the Sugar Sky, and In an Absent Dream. My favorite of those 4 might be In an Absent Dream. Yeah, that feels right. That one just was like really haunting. I think like of all the flashback ones, that one made the most sense to me. In terms of like, I knew it was going to be a tragedy, but that didn't spoil the experience for me, versus Down Among the Sticks and Bones. I feel like Every Heart a Doorway really spoiled that for me in a way where I just didn't feel as interested in it. And then the present day stories are fine, but like completely leave my head after I read them. So I've now read 5 of the Wayward Children books. We'll see if I ever go back and read more of them. It's fine for me. I have read Seasons of Glass and Iron. This is a short story collection that was almost my best new release. Not quite, but it was almost my best new release. It's my favorite works by Amal El-Mortar. I just love all these short stories. I think she is such a good short fiction author. I think she's immaculate at that. So if you want to dip your toes into short fiction, I really recommend this collection. I still don't know what the cover's doing. I still don't get it. And then we have The Liar's Knot reread. I adored it. This whole series is like 5 stars. I've read them so many times. The Liar's Knot, still so great. There's like a chapter in here where I'm like, oh my god, I forgot this chapter was now. Let's go. So many of my favorite scenes and revelations. I love The Liar's Knot. If you need more of my thoughts, I have a should you read on that trilogy. I did read The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. I guess I like it more than The Isle of the Silver Sea if we're talking about night books, like female night books, but I don't know. It's very good, fine. I don't know. It doesn't stick with me much. I don't think it's thematically doing anything super compelling to me. I think its strongest point is that it's tight. Like, it's like 300 pages. It gets in, it gets out. It's doing what it's doing. I guess it's slightly interesting, the theme on stories and the stories we tell and how they shape a nation. But, like, I've read it, like, that theme. I read that theme better. I don't know. It's fine. It's not my vote for the Hugo. Let's just put it that way. I also read To Ride a Rising Storm. It's the second book in To Shape a Dragon's Breath series. And I just really like the audiobooks. I feel like this book, it was mostly discussions, which makes sense. It's a school book. And when you're at school, all you're doing is like talking with your friends. And so there were a lot of discussions about philosophies and politics. And I kind of enjoyed it. Like, there did come a point where I was like, what's happening in this book? Like, is something happening? And it is a lot of build up to a very climactic end. And now I'm waiting for the third book. So yeah. So I guess if you don't want to have to wait for the third book, hold off. But I am really enjoying this school setting book right now. I don't even know if we'll be in a school the next book. And then I finished my reread of Memories of Ice. I have a live show with friends if you want to see that one. And I guess a book I didn't talk about too much, but I did finish, is All Hail Chaos. It kind of lost some steam for me when I went away on my break, and then I came back. I don't know what's happening. Like, it's just so chaotic. And I guess it does say All Hail Chaos, but I'm just like, what is happening? Like, I'm enjoying it, but I'm also like, what is happening? That's how I feel. But like I said, I'm more enjoying it now than I did the first book, to the point where, like, I would reread these two books before the third book comes out. Is it only a trilogy? I have no idea. I'm kind of hoping. But it does scratch this itch of nostalgia of, like, reading pulpy fantasy and things like Throne of Glass, where it really is just kind of like a chaotic multi-POV fantasy, and everyone's doing their own thing, and, like, it's so tropey, and it's just all over the place. So those are all my fantasy. And now for the science fiction, which truly has been winning the most this year. We'll get it out of the way, my biggest disappointment. And I also haven't talked about it that much, because I do believe this is one of the other books that I've read that I didn't talk to you guys about, and that was Pink Slime. So Pink Slime is by an Uruguayan author, and it's a dystopian a la Tender is the Flesh or The Memory Police, those types of dystopians. There is this environmental contagion, causes people to get this kind of withering disease, and you're more likely to get it from the sea and when the wind blows. So if there's a fog, you're safe. And our woman still lives near the sea, so she can be next to her toxic ex, and she has a bad relationship with her mom, and she's taking care of this kid that has a genetic condition where he can't help but gorge himself on food and always feel hungry. And like that, the caregiver role she has with this kid is fairly unique to this story. But the other ones, I'm like, okay, cool, you have a toxic relationship with your ex, cool, you have a toxic relationship with your mother, you have no agency or control, and so that's why you're choosing to stay here by this contagion. You're never going to understand the contagion, because that's not the point. There's also this pink slime that's like food. It was fine. It was really half-baked. I don't feel like it made sense. Now, was it interesting reading it while I was on the beach? Yes. That was interesting. That was an interesting level of immersion I did to myself there. Another thing, let's just keep going. Isle of the Ember Dark by Brandon Sanderson. I finished this book. I had a fun time with this book. That's all. I don't know. I don't have, like, deeper thoughts. I do think it's one of those things where, like, I have no idea how people feel if they just read this book. Because even Ryan, we were at a bookstore and he saw the newer cover for this that Tor's releasing. He's like, that's a pretty book. Have you read that one? I'm like, Ryan, that's the one I just told you I finished. That, like, you should not read yet because it'll make no sense sometimes. Like, some of it'll make sense, but a lot of it won't. So, yeah. I liked how it ended. I generally liked all the characters. I do think there is like this quality that he sometimes has for some of his characters that is just not landing the way it used to. I need to I think an early version of this that did still work was in Warbreaker. So I need to go back to Warbreaker and figure out if I'm right. Like, there's just something I can't vocalize, because I don't think how I'm hearing other people say it quite works for me, because it's not necessarily that it's on the nose or something like that, but there's just especially Starling, there's a way that she was processing her emotions that didn't feel like it fit who she's supposed to be, and it was lacking a density that I was used to in his works before. But otherwise, I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I love seeing the future of the Cosmere. I eat that up. It was fun. I don't know what I'm putting as a star rating here. If I wasn't on Goodreads or BookTube, it would be, as a fan, I am satisfied. You know? And then another one I've read is There Is No Mnemonics, I don't know, division. This is a very weird, engaging cosmic horror. Wouldn't recommend the audiobook because I think it's got mixed media qualities that would make that tedious at times. And I recommend reading it in a short period of time because, wow. It's just it's kind of like watching a TV show where all right, these are episodic things. This is little Black Mirror episodes. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, all these Black Mirror episodes are connected to each other. What's gonna happen? And your mileage is gonna vary on if that's satisfying for you or not. I think it's generally successful in its premise. But it's also just a weird time. It's just a really weird cosmic horror time. I'm gonna save that one for later. I reread Arbor Reality for book club. Fantastic. Oh my gosh. I'm nervous because I just saw Mara said she's going to talk about it in a video soon, and I'm I am both pumped and scared for your review of Arbor Reality. I adore it. Love it so much. My best audiobook was Cytonic. And that's mainly because somehow I finished that book and I liked it more than I thought I would. By a lot. To the point where I purchased the fourth one, Defiant, because it's only available on Audible. I think it made the internal voice of Spensa more tolerable, and Spensa's growing. She really is. I just had fun on the adventure. I really wasn't expecting to, but I had a really good adventure sci-fi time, and I do think a lot of that was the audiobook. This is the third book in the Skyward series. I don't know how to talk about that. Spensa is a girl. In the first book, her family is ostracized because of something her father does, and she has always wanted to be a pilot. That first book is super Top Gun. I don't know how to talk about the rest of the series. So, the first book's really fun. Spensa's an annoying young child, and how she copes is a lot, but she gets easier to handle. Alright, let's talk about my best cover, The Subtle Art of Folding Space. I'm sorry, it has dumplings on it. Yeah, this book made me so hungry. So I went and I got food. And it was some really good food. So yeah, The Subtle Art of Folding Space, John Chu. John Chu, I love his short works. His novelettes are my favorite. This isn't not a new favorite book for me, but I really enjoy what he was playing with. In this book, in this world, anyone can mess and help fix the physics of the universe. There's this equal opportunity. If you want to learn how to keep the universe in check, someone can train you to do that. Our main character is, I believe, an engineer, and she works with her cousin, who is an architect, but also more than he appears. Kind of a John Chu insert adjacent character. When you read it, it's oh, I've seen this type of character in his novelettes before, sort of thing. And they need to figure out who is after them, because someone had done this thing to arbitrarily keep her mother on life support. And so she ended up having to turn that off, and she has this horrible relationship with her sister. So it's this combination of discussion of who has a say in how the universe runs, and how do you deal with grief. And I think it does it well with a lot of whimsy, and it's this duo, this family duo, just doing stuff together to figure it out. And it worked for me for 200 some pages. I had a good time. And then I've read Obstetrics, which I think just came out. I put it in sci-fi. I almost put it in general fiction. But Naomi Kritzer is a sci-fi thriller author, and this is more thriller, and it's dystopian based off medical science, so maybe that's why it goes here. We're near North Dakota. Maybe we're in Montana. I don't know. She gets kidnapped to help a cult with births because she is a doctor, an OB. And that's the thriller part of it. And it's in an era where, like, she was on trial because she had helped her patient with a medical abortion. And she got in trouble for that, even though it was medically the right thing to do for the health of the mother, etc., etc. I don't even want to say it's futuristic. Like, I do actually think this is, like, so near future, it's not even futuristic. I had a good time with it. She writes a really fast-paced book for me. I always feel like I can read a book when I'm reading a Naomi Kritzer. It just, like, flows. And my last two before my best are the These Burning Stars and Our Vicious Worlds, which has not been as good for me as it's been for everybody else. Maybe On Vicious Worlds should have been my disappointment. I don't know. I read On Vicious Worlds over the course of like 2 or 3 days, most of it on a travel day. And I just like didn't care what was happening, but it wasn't bad, so I kept reading it. Yeah, that's not a good enough reason. So hypothetically, I'm still going to finish the trilogy because it's our Patreon buddy read. But I'm also going to wait and see like when and if people pick up the second book before I pick up the third book. I just like, I don't know. It doesn't have the sauce for me. And the reason why I know this, because I'm not going to just be Debbie Downer about this series. It just like, because I don't think it's doing anything wrong. I just don't think it's resonating with me. Because my favorite book, and the best new release, is The Last Contract of Asako. And, like, at first I'm like, do I just not like adventure sci-fi when I'm reading the other story with politics and stuff? I was like, no, I loved it with The Contract of Asako, which is so many of my non-buzzwords. So the only real difference is then, like, writing style. They both even have, like, these people are trained to help make the government keep running, and there's a conspiracy. Like, it's truly very similar types of sci-fi. But The Contract of Asako works so well for me and my taste. Now, part of that is it's Fonda Lee, and I freaking love how Fonda Lee writes. And I think I like that this is a more character-focused story. I don't really know. I cannot pinpoint why the other one doesn't work for me. So I'm going to stop talking about the other one. We're going to focus on The Contract of Asako. This is about, I actually can't remember her name right now, but our main character is a 50-year-old advisor, assassin, accountant character, and her boss recently releases her from duty and she gets picked up by someone else and she has one more contract. And she wants to get it done so that she has enough resources for her daughter, but in the process unpacks a conspiracy. And then we learn about that conspiracy. And it's just like a really, like, it's like John Wick, Star Wars in space sort of thing. I enjoyed it immensely. I think it's a really nice standalone story. I really liked how it ended. I like that you're obviously in this, like, cyberpunk dystopian off-world planet thing. But the point of the story isn't to fix that, even if we are discovering how messed up it is on top of how messed up it is just on the surface. So yeah, I enjoyed that. And that's it. Those are all the books, all 32 books. And we did it in less than 30 minutes, so I'm impressed with myself. And like I said, if there's any books here that you wanted more of my thoughts on, I might have my Friday Reads playlist you can just go through. But otherwise, if you just want to leave an emoji to let me know you're here, leave a dumpling for my best cover. And otherwise, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.